Once upon a time, in a quiet corner of the kingdom, lived a 16-year-old boy named Karl. Sharp-minded, brave by instinct, and cherished dearly by his parents. On an ordinary day with nothing more exciting than his usual errands, fate curled its cruel fingers around his life. When Karl returned home, his heart slammed against his ribs. His house was engulfed in flames, roaring hungrily into the night sky. Neighbors desperately hurled buckets of water, but the fire looked almost engineered. Too perfect, too complete. His parents were still inside. Karl screamed their names until his voice shredded, stumbling toward the blaze, only to be held back by frantic neighbors. No answer came, not even a whisper. The fire devoured everything. Hours later, when the firefighters finally smothered the last of the inferno, officials swarmed in. They took photos, took statements, took notes, but Karl could barely breathe, much less speak. He sat trembling on the curb, covered in ash, staring at the blackened skeleton of the life he once had. Rula Uncle, the warm, dependable family friend Karl had known since childhood, scooped him up from that nightmare. Rula arranged a temporary stay at his small motel, fed him, helped him, and shielded him the way only someone with a good heart would. Investigation wrapped up, the authorities stamped the case as accidental, a short circuit, nothing more. And with that convenient explanation, they closed the file and sent Karl to the orphanage. But Karl didn't believe it, not for a second. His parents weren't careless. They didn't leave wires hanging or circuits overloaded. Something else was at play, something darker. And so, broken but determined, Karl began his own quiet investigation. He already knew there had been tension between his father and a local contractor. Whispers of illegal operations, secrets his father was dangerously close to revealing. Rula Uncle confirmed it. He sat Karl down and shared the fragments he'd overheard back when Karl's father was alive. The contractor wasn't just corrupt. He was linked to the monarchy itself. And Karl's father had evidence. Real, dangerous evidence. Rula understood Karl's fury. He carried his own scars from the monarchy's dirty dealings. And with that shared pain, the two of them forged a pact in silence. That day, Karl buried his boyhood. Revenge became his compass. But if he wanted to confront the monarchy, he would have to disappear from their radar. Rula Uncle knew this too well. He had faked his own death years ago, shedding his old identity like shed skin. "I didn't have your fire," he admitted, "nor the youth to see it through. But you can finish what your father started." Karl promised he would. He completed his schooling and joined a bachelor's program, playing the role of a harmless, grieving orphan. But beneath that mask, he planned, and planned, and planned. Since he was being watched, he needed a profession that offered access, not suspicion. So he joined the capital city fire department. It worked, beautifully. Firefighters could reach government buildings, restricted areas, emergency zones, everywhere except the palace itself. Karl used the position to gather intel, studying routes, terrain, security habits, and comparing public palace photos with real-world layouts. Rumors swirled among the old firefighters: underground tunnels, decoy halls, labyrinth-like chambers beneath the palace. He couldn't verify it, but every scrap helped. 2 years later, Karl had enough knowledge and enough savings to begin the next phase, so he vanished. During a warehouse fire, he stepped into the inferno and removed himself from the world. Investigators found only part of a charred helmet and a sliver of burnt uniform. The monarchy breathed a sigh of relief. Their problem child was gone. But Karl wasn't gone. Karl was reborn. James emerged from the ashes. New name, new face, new voice, new man. Hidden away, he trained relentlessly in mixed martial arts, devoured every book needed for the Royal Guard's entrance exam, and shaped himself into a weapon with a pulse. When exam day arrived, he passed every test with ease, then deliberately ranked low to avoid attention. Training began. James made friends. Mark, top-ranked, loud, incapable of keeping secrets. Eva, quiet, razor-sharp, brilliant at reading human behavior. Harper, fashionable, funny, sometimes too bold, and proudly connected to the monarchy's inner circle. They bonded, but all of them knew the truth. The closer they got to the palace, the less room there would be for friendship. Ego, ambition, and shadows weighed on each of them. Harper flaunted her powerful connections constantly, and every time she did, James noticed a subtle shift in Eva, a tightening of her jaw, a flicker of something unspoken. Interesting. Very. At last, training ended. Under blinding lights and soaring holographic screens, the new batch of royal guards marched into the palace grounds. A grand ceremony, plastered across the city, painting the monarchy as noble saviors. James's pulse hammered under the crisp new uniform. He'd made it. He was inside. The massive palace gates clanged shut behind him. No turning back now.